and I could kind of go, you want me to kind of explain it from the beginning for your audience? Because I know some of them might not be familiar.
Just break it down simply. Why we got beef with Iran? Do they got weapons of mass destruction again?
Okay, so I'll go through this. So here's the thing.
Iraq?
So we could talk about that too. So when it comes to Iran, right, Israel has been trying to get a war with Iran for the better part of 30 to 40 years. Netanyahu has been running around saying that they're, 3 weeks away from a nuclear bomb for decades now at this point. And the big reason why we have such a problem with Iran is because of Israel. Israel understands that Iran is the only power really in the Middle East that can, that can fight back. And they're really the only thing standing in between them and a complete hegemony in the Middle East. So they've been trying to destabilize and get a regime change in Iran for a very long time. And they've been using the ruse of, they got nuclear weapons. They got nuclear weapons. Well, we know that they haven't been able to, they've been enriching at a higher level, right? It's almost a weapons grade, but they've never actually gotten to that point. But the Israelis don't like them being there and having this ballistic missile program and this nuclear program, etc. And we were in a deal with them called the JCPOA, also known as the nuclear deal. And this nuclear deal was something that Obama set up back in 2015, where we would be monitoring, us and the international community for that matter, and the IAEA, we would be monitoring their nuclear program in exchange for them making sure that it stays at a civilian level, enriching at a very low level percentage as well. And we would remove the sanctions because Iran has very crippling sanctions right now. They can't sell their oil to, certain countries, and they lose a lot of money doing that because they also have a lot of oil. So that was a deal that Obama put in place in 2015, which I think was one of the better things of his presidency because it ensured some kind of stabilization in the Middle East. Once Trump came in 2016, he pulled us out of the nuclear deal at a lot of pressure from the Zionist lobby because the Zionist lobby in Israel does not want Iran existing the way that it is at all. They don't care if they got a nuclear program or not. They just don't want them there because they have a very competent ballistic missile program, right? So what ended up happening was when October 7th happened, right? Israel used October 7th, right? Because Hamas is backed by Iran. Israel used October 7th as a justification to not just wage war in Gaza, but also to wage war in Lebanon against Hezbollah, wage war against the Houthis down in Yemen, and also begin the toppling of the Syria Bashar al-Assad regime. And then once all of that was done, once they destabilized Hezbollah, they destroyed Hamas, they hurt the Houthis, and they were able to get Bashar al-Assad out of there, then they attacked Iran with the 12-day war. They did Operation Rising Lion. It was a sneak attack. It was like their Pearl Harbor. They destroyed a bunch of their air defense. They killed a bunch of their generals. They killed a bunch of their nuclear scientists. And they were hoping that would create impetus for the people to rise up, right, and overthrow the government. That's what they wanted. It didn't work. It actually it backfired. It created an opposite effect. It made them rally around the flag, and they took to the streets and said, fuck Israel, go and attack Israel. And the reason why this is so important is because for many decades in Iran, there's been a lot of rift in the government between the conservatives and the reformists. The reformists are like our level of Democrats, our functional equivalent of like progressive as Democrats. They want more business with the West so that we can relieve the sanctions versus the conservatives don't trust the West. And when Israel attacked them, we were in the middle of negotiating with them for the Iran deal. We were literally in the middle of a nuclear deal with them. Like Steve Witkoff had planned to meet them in Qatar like that Sunday, and we bombed them on Israel bombed them on like Thursday or Friday, right? So they got caught with their pants down completely. So Israel attacks them, kills these generals, kills these scientists. Iran's operating at blind for like 24 hours. After that, Iran fought back and they shot a bunch of ballistic missiles into many different strategic areas all across Israel, Tel Aviv, Haifa, and shit. And now this is where the mainstream media didn't tell the truth on this. Iran absolutely fucked Israel up. Now, the mainstream media doesn't want to report that because Israel's a glass cannon, right? They like to dish out the damage, but they can't necessarily take it back themselves. So what are you looking for? Are you looking for Iran or Tehran, or I'm looking at your map?
No. So like anytime I try to understand some of these geopolitical or feuds on like a national on a global stage, using a map always helps. Like, yeah, I completely understand the feud between Russia and Ukraine. Yo, you're right next door to us. You're not gonna be fucking with all our ops and welcome them there. That they could use you against us if it ever goes left.
Yeah, we need to, and if you want,
that makes complete sense. Now I'm looking at it, like Israel. First of all, I didn't even know Israel was this small. Yeah, but Israel, like it's you have Jordan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, then Iran. So Iran's like power in the region comes from what? and why are they a threat?
Yeah, I'm just sure. Do you want me to? Okay, because I can go into Discord, bro, and I can open up my map and I can explain all this to you. Because I agree, showing them visually is going to matter. It's going to mean a lot. It's going to make a lot more sense. Because I got to explain the axis of resistance to your audience real quick. Okay. How do I'm in the call with you. Is there a way that I could share screen or something?
Yeah, you just.
I got to turn on my camera, right?
Yeah, you don't even got to turn the camera on. You just got to hit the share screen button.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and pull up a Middle Eastern map right here. Because yeah, this will make way more sense. Once
and also, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like, I mean, obviously, I do kind of, you know, on my spare time, I like listen to conversations about this stuff, but I'm definitely not no expert.
Yeah, no worries. I can explain this.
I'm more like the average person about it, and usually, what I believe the average American says, why the fuck do we care about anything that's going on in the fucking Middle East? Like, yo, why the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, yo, let's care about what's going on in Milwaukee. Like, why the hell we care about what's going on? Like, most of us will never go to these places. You know what I mean?
No, I totally understand, but I'll tell you why we care about it. We care about it because the Zionist lobby cares about it. That's a big reason why. So, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so let me first I'll explain what the axis of resistance is. The axis of resistance is basically, you know, it's a formation between hostile countries that dislike Israel's presence in the region, right? You got Iran right here, who basically run and fund it. You got components of Iraq. You got obviously Syria under the Bashar al-Assad regime. You got Lebanon.
Hey, hold on. We got to slow down a bit. So again, you know, we're just not from that region. So again, I don't understand. So Iran is the big dog out there.
Yes, they're the one. You know, they're the ones
money-wise, or is it Iraq? Because maybe it's because from I was a little kid. When I heard the word Iraq, I heard terrorists. I'm gonna keep it a beat.
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know,
fine.
like we always just heard like, yo, these where the terrorists live. You know what I mean? So is Iran like they got the bread? But I always looked at Iraq as broke. Like these guys don't got nothing. Maybe they got some oil some places, but they don't really got nothing. So you're saying in that region, who is the U.S. or not? You know, comparatively speaking, you know what I'm saying? Like who's everybody marches on their program.
Yeah. So obviously Saudi Arabia and all these Gulf states are very powerful too. But when it comes to adversaries,
they don't get in any type of wars and shit. Like Saudi
exactly.
Arabia, right?
Yeah. So if we're gonna talk about like ops, like for like the West, so to speak, like with Israel, it's Iran. They are the big dog. They're the ones that fund the axis of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then go ahead.
Okay, so Iran basically runs the shit. And what Iran did, actually, this is a very smart strategy. They understand that they're outgunned by Israel and the United States. So what they basically did was they created almost like a proxy where they have militias in Iraq. They got the Bashar al-Assad regime who just got destabilized. Then they got the Hezbollah in Lebanon. And then obviously they got Hamas right here in Gaza, right? And then they have the Houthis down here.
Wow. Wait, right? So basically they have people all surrounded
precisely
surrounded Israel. Hold on. Again, I know, and by the way, for people in my chat, I know we usually don't, we stay cultural, but we got to learn some new shit, you know, every once in a while. Okay, and I'm trying to get you guys to understand some of this stuff on the most basic of level. So, okay, cool. What is the beef with Iran and Israel?
So the beef with them has been going on for a very long time. And one of the big reasons why Israel dislikes Iran is because Iran is really the last country in the region that stands between them and hegemony and basically running this thing, because they're the only nuclear power in the region.
What's hegemony?
Basically, they want to be they want to be the top country in the region, the most powerful country in the region.
Okay, and I'm going to ask some questions that might come across as simple, but you know,
no worries, bro. There's no stupid question, bro, at all.
Okay, I'm looking at your map, and when looking at your map, Israel looks like the smallest of all of these countries with a lot of land. Why doesn't Israel kind of just expand? Or like, if you're this powerful but you're small, maybe you need to start occupying more territory to gain more space. I think one of the advantages that the United States has is that we have this huge landmass where we get to like hedge that in like the whole, you know, North America, I don't want to call it peninsula, but like that whole continent, we kind of get to, yo, we're huge.
Yeah,
you know
we're
what I mean?
in our own sphere.
Still small.
Yeah, so what Israel's trying to do, actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that. Israel's trying to expand. They're trying to, you know, they'll always deny this.
They should just take over Jordan and Lebanon.
Well, here's the thing. We actually pay Jordan and Egypt a lot of money to play nice with the Israelis. Israel's like the #1 recipient of aid. Egypt and Jordan are now far behind, and we pay them to play nice because obviously Egypt is to Israel's south and Jordan to the east. So we pay them a lot of money to be allies with Israel and play nice. Now, with that said, Israel is trying to expand. They absolutely want to expand. They want to take the Golan Heights. They want to go into southern Lebanon, and they want to basically, push their Greater Israel project. Now, they'll deny this, right, anytime you ask them officially, but they absolutely want to expand the country as much as they can and take over so that they can basically secure their position in the region. Because keep in mind that Israel is a relatively new country. It was created in 1948. So, yeah, and none of these Arab countries want them there. Okay, good. All right, and I do have one question too. Yo, Cyprus dope. Like, they look like they got. It's a nice island. Is it the beaches around there? You see Cyprus right there? Yeah, it's a nice area, man. Is it like a cool country? Like who they down with? Because I would never go to the Middle East. I'm like, yo, I like beaches. I like fly shit. Like I ain't trying to go over here, y'all bombing each other. Like I'm not going nowhere where the bombs is dropping. Yeah, bro, you got to stay here in the Gulf. UAE, Qatar, these are safe places you can go. Oman, but all this area here, you want to stay away from that shit, bro. Okay, so the next question becomes. This ain't like the olden times, I'm guessing, right? This ain't no Christopher Columbus shit like you show up and you be like, yo, is this India? Nah, this is America. You'd be like, yo, all y'all Native Americans, get the fuck out of here. This is our spot now. How do you take over regions these days? With Israel? What's the proper way? So if Israel's trying to expand, like I'm pretty sure if they say, we're gonna just own Lebanon, people will be like, yo, no, the fuck you aren't. So, like, how do you do that? So they tried that actually at the end of 2024. Really? Yeah, so I'll explain. So as you guys know, October 7th happened, right? And Israel was beginning a ground campaign in Gaza. They started doing airstrikes and they started a ground campaign. While this was happening, right, and this is why, like, the Axis of Resistance really had their boots on their neck for a while. Hezbollah was shooting rockets into northern Israel in the Haifa area, right? And as they were shooting rockets into northern Israel right here, Israel had to evacuate like 60,000 people, right? So they're getting hit with rockets down here. And then on top of that, the Houthis were sending rockets all the way from Yemen into Israel. So they were getting hit not just from the Gaza Strip, but they were getting hit from the Houthis in the south and then the Hezbollah in the north in Lebanon. So what Israel did was after they concluded their on-ground campaign and they took over Rafah and they killed a guy named Yahya Sinwar in October of 2024, right? They kind of began, or as they were wrapping up, so to speak, they began a ground assault in November-ish of November. Well, I think they started in September. They started September with the pager attack, where they blew up a bunch of pagers all across Lebanon, and they also started a ground assault into southern Lebanon. I watched a documentary on that. Hey, by the way, I also just Googled, right? So, and again, I know you're on stream too, so I know your audience surprise is way more advanced than. Nah, you good, bro. No worries. But yo, Israel got 10 million people and they bucking like that? 10 million? Oh, hell no. That's New York City. Yeah. Yo, Iran has, I just Googled it, like 75. No. Yeah, 90 million. Yeah. How the hell 10 million people bullying 90 million? Because they got our support, bro. We're jumping? Like, what the hell? Bro, that's called the U.S. firepower, bro. Like, if it weren't for the United States, Israel would be gone in 2 days, bro. If it weren't for the United States. So we are the guys that our association with Israel kind of warns the region, fuck around, you finna find out type shit. Absolutely, bro. If it wasn't for the United States, Israel would be gone within 24 hours. They cannot defend themselves against all of their enemies in this region. So what ended up happening, right? So at the end of 2024, Israel actually invaded Lebanon. They invaded and they couldn't make it to Beirut like they wanted. They claimed that they were going to march all the way to Beirut. They couldn't do it, but they were able to launch a successful pager attack and kill a guy named Hassan Nasrallah. This dude right here, basically, they killed this guy right here. And this is a big deal. Here, I'll show you. Put a face to the name so people really know. This guy right here, he was the head of Hezbollah at the time, and they killed him in an airstrike, right? And once they killed him, that pretty much was, the end of it, right? Because this dude was the main brains behind Hezbollah, and they had been trying to find him for a very long time. So once is Hezbollah, are they on some icy shit? Are they terrorists or are they like just them and Hamas were designated as a foreign terrorist organization back in like 96 or 97. Oh, okay. But so it's funny, the woman that designated them as a terrorist organization was a Jewish woman named Madeleine Albright. Really? Coincidence, right?
So when it comes to Hezbollah, those are people that the U.S. don't like. Do they ever try to plan attacks on us?
Yeah, I mean, we've had problems with them before, for sure. They've been behind some terrorist attacks, for sure. But keep in mind that Hezbollah was created in 1982 because of Israel, because Israel was being aggressive towards Lebanon and they had invaded. So they were created in 82 to fight the Israeli occupation, because the Israelis, bro, bully everybody in this region. You know what I mean?
Where does ISIS come out of? Because I also saw a report that they just came out with saying that the FBI foiled a potential attack from ISIS that was supposed to be on U.S. soil. Did you see that?
Yeah. So, look, this is where you can... ISIS, man, I think it's kind of it's a homegrown Western situation, man, because I find it interesting how these ISIS guys, never attack Israelis.
So ISIS, I thought ISIS was based out of Afghanistan or something.
No, it was based out of Syria for a while, because there was so many. The conflict in Syria is kind of what led to it, and Syria has a very complex war situation. They're under new leadership now after the fall of Hezbollah, but that's a whole other story in itself. But the bottom line is this: Iran is the main entity that stands between Israel's way and complete influence and power across the Middle East. And Israel needs Iran out of the way, and they want a regime change. And for them to get the regime change, they're going to need to decapitate the current regime with the Ayatollah. And that is why they're prepping to do another conflict, another war. And I think that these protests that they got going on right now in Iran are step one towards the process. And then I predict sometime for Q1, I wouldn't be surprised if Israel didn't launch another attack against Iran. They had to end the last war because Iran was absolutely starting to fuck them up, and Israel only has so many interceptor missiles, so they would not be able to keep up defending themselves from the Iranian missiles, because the Iron Dome only has so many interceptor missiles and the David Sling and the Arrow. So that's kind of why we've had a little bit more time in between the conflict. Israel had to restock their interceptor missiles and then make sure they got everything right on the ground with disruptors and running the coup and everything else like that. But I think with this next war, it's going to be do or die for both countries.
Okay, and one of my final questions is really this. Okay, so all right, I kind of now understand this as you've explained it geographically, right? Okay, here's this region, they're resourceful, or not resource, they're funded, U.S. They have definitely some heavy resources in being able to wage war against the rest of the region. So despite them being small, they're kind of swinging their dick around a little bit. Iran, they're kind of putting up, some resistance, but they're also doing it through kind of these other entities that's almost damn near surrounded Israel.
And all those entities, it's important. The reason why they want to attack Iran so bad now is because these other entities are weakened. So Syria, for example, Syria fell, and it was being run by this guy, right? Bashar al-Assad. He was the president, right, of Syria. This guy was critical for the Axis, because what would happen was Hezbollah is the most competent military paramilitary that fights Israel. They fought them many different times. 2006, 1982. They fought them again in 2024, right? And they're the only ones that have really been able to beat the IDF up quite a bit. So, but the reason why Syria is so critical is because Iran would basically get weapons, supply, support, and they'd move these through Iraq into Syria, destined for Lebanon, right? Once there was a ceasefire between the IDF and Hezbollah, what happened was this triggered a invasion, and this invasion was conducted by this guy right here. Let me duplicate this real fast. Ahmed al-Shara, right? So Ahmed al-Shara is the current president of Syria. What he basically did was, once that ceasefire was done and Hezbollah was weakened alongside Hamas and everybody else, he basically launched a revolution. And he was in the Idlib province, right here in Syria, right here, right? He was here. He went and he took Aleppo, which is a very strategic location in Syria, one of their bigger cities. Then he worked his way all the way down to Damascus, and basically they took over Syria in a couple of weeks. And what happened was Bashar al-Assad had to flee to Russia, and he's currently in Russia right now in asylum. And Ahmed al-Ashara, aka al-Jalani, this guy used to be in fucking Al-Qaeda, by the way, back in the day. He now is the president of Syria.
He was in Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, this dude used to be in Al-Qaeda. He was at the White House not too long ago, too. Kind of funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Nah, we ain't cool with no niggas from Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, bro. Al-Qaeda, I'm not getting around, bro. He left in 2016, but yeah. So basically, since Syria fell, Hezbollah's weakened, the Houthis have kind of been kept at bay. The last thing left is Iran now. All of their proxies have been weakened significantly. So this is why Israel is in such a rush to attack Iran now while the axis of resistance is weakened.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay, it does make sense. So now,
I'm throwing a lot at you here, bro. So, let me know if you any questions.
I'm definitely getting it. So the last thing that I feel like, and maybe it's important, maybe it's not, in me trying to understand all this conflict and turmoil going on in this region, how does religion play into this? Because all right, Israel, they're Judaism, right?
Yeah.
So they're Jewish guys, right?
Yep.
And then Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, they're Muslim dudes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Again, religion always matters. Like, sometimes, hey, listen, if I'm going to my church and you got your mosque over there and the synagogue, we know religion really matters a lot. How much of this is maybe the Muslim dude saying, man, get these Judaism niggas out of here, versus maybe Israel also saying, well, we're trying to spread what we got going on to maybe influence some of the regions you guys have. Is that a thing or no?
Yeah, so I could talk about how religion plays a role. Religion plays a role because, so for example, right, a lot of people don't know this. When Hamas invaded Israel, right, from the Gaza Strip, the name of their operation was actually called Al-Aqsa Flood, right? And the reason why they called it Al-Aqsa Flood is after this mosque right here. And basically, what was going on, there's three main reasons Hamas invaded Israel. One reason was because of the occupation, right? That Israel holds on to Gaza and they occupy them in the West Bank as well. And they kill Palestinians all the time, right? That's one reason. The second reason was because of the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords are an agreement basically between Israel, the United States, and other Muslim countries that recognize, hold on, I'll show you right here, that recognize Israel. A lot of these Muslim countries don't recognize Israel as a state ever since, 1967. And the Abraham Accords have been bringing in Muslim countries to recognize Israel. Now, the problem is that Israel's been trying to play the sly game where they try to get recognized by these Muslim countries without answering the Palestinian question. And before October 7th happened, Israel was supposed to meet with Saudi Arabia. And they were talking about potentially getting Saudi Arabia into the Abraham Accords. Now, the reason why this is a problem is because Saudi Arabia has an enormous amount of influence in the Middle East because it has obviously Medina, Mecca, etc. So if Saudi Arabia was to ever join Abraham Accords, right, or even think about it without answering the Palestinian question, they knew that their fate would be sealed and they'd have to be occupied by the Israelis forever. So number one, Abraham Accords. Number two, the occupation. Number three, which is the religious one to answer your question, was the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So what the Israelis have been doing, and the Jews in that area, is they're trying to bring about their Messiah. And the way that they're going to do this is they need to slaughter these 5 red cows.
Wait, hold on. Excuse me? They try to do what?
They're trying to bring about the return of their Messiah. Or sorry, they're trying to bring their Messiah. Yeah, I know. It's crazy shit. Without me getting too much into the theology and the lore, basically they want to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque and rebuild the temple and slaughter 5 red cows. It's in their theology to bring their Messiah. And Hamas, a guy named Abu Ubaidah.
This sounds like some Game of Thrones shit. Wait,
yeah,
they're trying to bring back the Messiah. They want to slaughter some cows and destroy like something and build some other shit.
They want to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque to rebuild the temple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that played a big part into why Hamas invaded, and that's why they called it Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, was because they're trying to protect the mosque from being destroyed by the Israelis, because there's a radical Jewish organization called the Temple Institute who's been spending a lot of money building this temple and getting prepared to build the temple. And this mosque is like the third holiest site or the second holiest site in the Islamic faith. And the infrastructure of it is starting to cave in on itself. And the Israelis are not fixing it.
Wait, where is this place at?
It's in Jerusalem.
Okay, so this is in Israel.
Yes, it's in Israel,
and all of Israel's ops wants to destroy this thing.
Israel wants to destroy the mosque. The Muslim world does not want them to destroy it. They want to destroy it so they can rebuild the temple that was destroyed under King Solomon.
Okay, why don't they just destroy it? Like, I mean, we dropped bombs in Venezuela. Like, why is this thing?
Because the Muslim world would go crazy if they destroyed it. So they've been trying to do it. They've been doing it secretly.
The Muslim world. What do you mean? Like, so if Israel just fucking drops a drone strike and boom, gone, what's the problem?
The Muslim world would lose their mind, and they'd all pull out they'd all pull out, probably more than likely to pull out the Abraham Accords, and there would be problems. They would be invaded, and it would create a geopolitical nightmare for the Israelis in the United States. So, but what they've been doing is they've been secretly building the temple. They bought 5 cows in the United States secretly. They moved them over to Israel.
Wait, 5? You said cow, like COW?
Yeah, 5 red cattle. Yep, 5 red cows.
Like, we're talking about like
the same moo.
Shit oxtail.
Yeah, like moo. Yeah, like cows. Like niggas really bought 5 red cows from Texas and moved them over to Israel for this ritual.
Really? Yo, yeah. This is some shit.
I know, this is some crazy shit. I know, bro. It's like, what the hell? But yeah, so this was actually a big. So there's a guy named Abu Ubaidah. This dude right here, right? I'm really giving y'all the lore right now. So this guy Abu Ubaidah, right?
By the way, let me say this.
Yeah.
Yo, as time goes on, especially like I think hip hop is, I do love hip hop and I love culture, but I've realized in the last 6 months the real drama is politics and a lot of this stuff that's really bigger than just hip hop. If someone made all this shit like really like bite-sized, understandable for the layman's, like somebody needs to do the war in Chirac globally. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, people didn't know what was going on in Chicago. I took Chicago and said, hey, even if you're a fucking idiot from Oklahoma, this is what's going on. These guys versus these guys, da-da-da. Very simple. I'm showing you things that obviously, tragedies, of course, but there's an entertainment aspect to it that people buy into it. Because as you're even explaining this shit to me, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's a lot, bro.
But most people are ignorant to what's going on here, right? And I'm wondering why, like, outlets don't kind of do that to relate to the regular person. The regular person just care about drama.
Yeah.
They don't care what it is.
And to answer the question you gave before,
anything that seems too complicated, they check out.
Yeah. And I'm trying to explain this because this is a very complex, conflict right now. But to answer it quickly, there's geopolitical reasons why the conflict is going on in Israel and Hamas and these Muslim countries. And then there's obviously theology. So this guy, Abu Ubaidah, he was the spokesperson for Hamas for a very long time. He was the dude that would be on the videos with the mask on. It's interesting that they have his actual face here. But what happened was he talked about the red heifers being moved from the United States to Israel. That was a big provocation because they want to bring about the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and then rebuild the temple. Then he talked about the occupation, and then he also talked about the Abraham Accords, expanding the Abraham Accords without answering the Palestine question. Those are the 3 chief reasons why Hamas invaded Israel on October 7th. There's other reasons too, but those are the top 3, I would say.
Hey, by the way, have you ever watched the Netflix series? Well, I'm calling Netflix because I'm watching on Netflix. You ever watch Homeland?
I have watched Homeland before, yeah.
There's a nigga in there named Abu Nazir. I ain't gonna lie to you. I remember like that nigga's a demon. but I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been watching Homeland and then I've been using my brain to figure out. I'm like, okay, how do you figure out? Because at first I was kind of like disinterested because I'm like, if it's not in the United States, I really don't give a fuck what's going on in these other countries. I really don't. Listen, I'm from Jamaica, and listen, I came to America. I love Jamaica. Listen, I'm donating for the hurricane. Cool, that's all good. But I live in the United States of America. All y'all other countries, good fucking luck. We're here.
Yeah,
but
no,
when you get to understand how everything kind of like all meshes and it all kind of relies on each other, it's like a really interesting, but like very also, you have to navigate it really carefully.
Yeah,
right?
and look, this topic, bro, before October 7th and us seeing the genocide that went down in Gaza, this was a very forbidden topic to talk about because all of our Middle Eastern foreign policy, when you look at it, whether it was the war in Iraq, the war on terror, all this other stuff, it was really only to benefit Israel. Like Israel runs our foreign policy when it comes to the Middle East. We attack all of their enemies. So, and it's what's kept us in forever wars all across the Middle East. And the reason for that is because we have an enormous amount of Israeli influence and Zionists that are in power in the United States that have influential positions in politics, in the government, in tech, in finance, etc. And a lot of these people are dual allegiance.
Rhetorical question. I feel like I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you, I'm going to also request that you give, because, I do watch you, obviously when I'm not on stream and shit like that, but I want you to give a layman's term answer, not a Myron talking to my audience answer.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the question. So I understand a little bit of this association, USA, Israel, right? There is, I kind of understand like, all right, you know what? We might need to use these people or they need to use us, whatever. But we have some aligned interests in that region. Here's the question, and I want you to just answer it on a that everybody can understand. Do you think that it's us that is using Israel versus Israel using us? Because there's a way that I look at this and say, hey, if we want to have power in this region, the only people that would be aligned with our interests are the people who ain't a Muslim country, Israel, and who basically needs us, Israel. So if I'm thinking that we could use Israel to be pretty much almost like this kind of, hey, yeah, we're not beefing with you. But we could also support them, this and third. But as long as we they're the proxy of all our interests. Now, there's the other thinking, and I think maybe listen to you and sometimes even Nick and a couple of other people, you guys kind of put out the other way of thinking, which is it's Israel that has all the control and they use us. And I'm even saying we got 400 million people. Israel got 10 million. How the fuck does 10 million people control 400 million? But I would want you to explain it, and I want you to explain it on a very broad level, because if you get into the nuance, and I know you can, you're going to lose me and probably many of my audience in trying to.
I'll sum it up for you. Zionist Jews run America. And the reason why how Zionist Jews run America is because they're in pivotal and high positions of power in every main infrastructure of U.S. society, whether it's in politics, big tech, finance, media, AI now. They have overrepresentation in all of our most elite institutions, and they use that representation for their own benefit of Israel. And it's not just American Zionist Jews.
Wait, hold on now.
There's Australians, there's British, etc.
Because you just made a point.
Yeah.
So I want to ask this question. So when what you just mentioned, what I think is capitalism, right? And like it's, for example, if we get into certain, businesses or certain realms of businesses, we might be like, oh, the Chinese are very, dominant in those areas, or maybe the, people who are of Indian descent. Okay, I get what you're saying, that people who are Jewish are whatever, really important in these areas, but how does that connect to politics? So let's say maybe there's a lot of Jewish representation when it comes to media or whatever else. How does that connect to politics and geopolitical strategy, which usually involves governments at a high level?
Sure.
That's where we're trying to connect.
So there's lobbying organizations in America. AIPAC is the most famous one. And basically these lobbying... Go ahead.
I've heard that. Explain AIPAC.
It's basically, here, I'll show you right now. Let me show you how brazen these dudes are. Because I could say one thing, but if I show you, you're going to be like, what the hell? So if I go to Google, right, and I type in AIPAC.
Oh, could you explain what it... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's basically a national movement of pro-Israel Americans. It's a lobbying organization, right, that ensures that American politicians that get elected have Israel interests in mind, right? And if you go to their website here, let's see if they took it off or not. Look at this. We stand with those who stand with Israel. The AIPAC PAC is a bipartisan pro-Israel political action committee. It is the largest pro-Israel PAC in America and contributed to more resources directly to candidates than any other PAC. Look at this. They don't even hide it. 96% of AIPAC-backed candidates won their general election races in 2024. So in other words, whether you're Republican or Democrat, if you are not pro-Israel, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually become a politician of any real consequence in the United States. And the interesting thing is AIPAC doesn't have to register under something called FARA, or the Foreign Agent Registration Act. They're the only country that doesn't have to do that. Every other country does.
Really?
Yeah. This is what got JFK and his brother killed. But that's a whole other, rabbit hole. But yeah, this is just one lobby. There's hundreds of these organizations.
Okay. So all right. Keep connecting the dots for me. So let's say I'm a Jewish guy who is really big and important in the movie industry. Why do I care about this? Obviously I'm making billions of dollars because I run the movie, or let's say music industry. Because again, you gotta, like, when I hear people, and I've heard you kind of like connect the power that maybe some industries that are, we could say, overrepresented by Jewish people.
Yeah.
How does that connect to politics though? Because are these the people funding it? Like, so are you saying that the guy who owns the music business or who owns the biggest labels, they're the one who's saying, hey, I'm going to take the billions I'm earning and I'm going to give it to pro-Israel things? Is that what you're telling me?
So I'll give you an example right now, right? So you look at this woman here, Myron Adelson, right? This woman is like the biggest donor to the Republican Party. Her and her husband, Sheldon Adelson, who passed away, right?
Wait. She's the biggest donor?
Yeah, the Adelsons are the biggest donors in the Republican Party, yeah. So she gave Trump $100 million on his last run, right?
Really?
Yeah. And, this is just one of the donors. There's many very wealthy pro-Israel Zionist donors that fund campaigns, and that money's not coming for free. They want you to, they give you that money. Hey, we want you to win your election, but when you do your policy, when you do your foreign policy, you need to make sure it's pro-Israel. And that's kind of, the money always comes with, expectations attached.
So do you have any proof that it's actually, that type of just straight up arrangement? Like, hey, listen, I'm not giving you this money just because I'm nice. You need to be pro, what we got going on.
Yeah. I mean, the Zionist donors, they always say, hey, you need to be pro-Israel. We're only going to donate to candidates that are pro-Israel. Myron Adelson is one of the big ones, but there's more.
Did she donate to Kamala? No,
she donates to the Republican Party, but there's Democrat donors too, I'm sure, like George Soros and shit like that. So,
and they all align with Israel, influence stuff.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Let's use Bill Ackman, right? This dude right here.
I've heard that name.
Yeah. So Bill Ackman, right? This guy is a lifelong Democrat, right? And he's donated to the Klan campaign, etc. But guess who voted for in the last election? He voted for Trump. Why? Because he knew that Trump would be far more pro-Israel and more aggressive in Israel's current seven war front. So he switched from a Democrat basically to a Republican to put Trump in. And this is what I mean when I say we got very powerful Zionist Jews that live in America whose number one priority is Israel. They'll sit there and they'll say, oh, I'm American. But when you look at their voting record, they're Israel first, right? Ben Shapiro, this guy, etc. Like, that's what they care about. Kicked out of many different societies. They've been ostracized from many different societies. So they've never really had a home. So once they got the state of Israel in 1948, they said, we're holding on to this for dear life. We're not letting this slip our hands. So this is why Jews from different places, whether it's America, England, Australia, New Zealand, they all have a very strong affinity to the state of Israel because it's the Jewish homeland. It's the Jewish state in their mind. So no matter where they are, they're going to donate and support the Zionist cause.
Okay. It's making a little bit of sense. So you're telling me these guys take their money that they earn from capitalism and they're funding Jewish,
Yeah, they fund Zionism. Yeah, they support Israel. They fund candidates. Like this guy, Bill Ackman, spent millions of dollars to make sure that Mamdani lost. He failed, but he was trying to keep Mamdani from becoming the mayor of New York City because he wasn't pro-Israel enough.
So isn't Mamdani like some Muslim guy?
He is.
He's a Muslim guy who runs New York City now, right?
Yeah, he is. But like the thing is that he's the mayor of New York City.
New York City. Why would he give a fuck? Like New York City got nothing to do with goddamn whatever going on in Israel.
That just goes to show, bro, that this is why this is what I mean when I say like even from the mayor of New York, like they want their tentacles in every level of government. Like there's a woman named Cori Bush, right? This chick right here. Let me see if I spell this right. Cori Bush. Yeah, so she was a politician, right? This chick was out of fucking New Orleans, dude, if I'm not mistaken.
Cut it out, Myron. She's black. She ain't with none of that bullshit you talking about right now.
No. So hear me out. The Zionist lobby
bring some
voted
hot
her out.
sauce, some gumbo. She don't give a fuck about Israel or nothing going on. Look at her.
She doesn't, but that's exactly what got her jammed up. The Zionist lobby.
You give her some Skims, pretty little thing, discount code. You give her some hair glue, and she's lit. Stop it. She don't give a fuck what they got going on in Tel Aviv.
Yeah,
what
but
the hell?
you gotta look, bro. What happened was she got voted out because the pro-Israel lobby spent millions of dollars to get her out, right,
Really?
as the representative.
Ooh.
Because she was pro-Israel. Sorry, because she was calling the genocide a genocide, and they don't like that. So they said, oh, you know what? You're out of St. Louis. We don't even have that many Jews here, but it doesn't matter. We don't want you being a representative. And they got her the fuck up out of here.
Wait, who won? Who was the person who beat her? Oh.
They funded her opposition who was more pro-Israel. I forget who the guy was that she lost to, but he was pro-Israel, so they funded him. And that's what I mean when I say these Israel lobbying groups, bro, are on some bullshit. You know, like they literally, if you don't support Israel, they will get you out of office.
I'm gonna ask a question. Might sound dumb too. When I hear about money throughout the world or throughout the diaspora of just, globally, period, people always say oil money is the most, and we usually identify that with Muslim countries. How the hell does Israel have like a money glitch? That's the question. How Israel got a money glitch, but Iran, Iraq have, well, no, I don't know about yes, but like these countries that are oil rich and have way more real estate. How, and like Saudi, like why does Saudi Arabia, which like, when I think about that, I think about opulence. Why don't they use their money glitch to fight against Israel money glitch? Because Israel can't have that much money, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that obviously you got a lot of wealthy donors that are supporters of, remember the Rothschilds, like were the big ones that created this. They basically created the state of Israel, the Rothschilds, right? With the Balfour Declaration.
Really?
Yeah. The Rothschilds are Jewish.
And they funded that.
Yeah. With the Balfour Declaration. So if you look at the Balfour Declaration here, this right here, this document, right? It was written, Dear Lord Rothschild. And this was basically, led to the creation of Israel later on. The Rothschilds are actually on Israeli currency.
Really?
Yeah, bro. So like, there's a lot of money in Israel. Like,
I'm getting like a 4-year education in this shit right now.
Yeah, like, and they don't teach this in school for obvious reasons, unfortunately.
So the Rothschilds, like, because I've heard that name a lot, they're aligned with Jewish interests, and they're integral in the support and creation of Israel.
Yeah, they were instrumental to the creation of Israel. Instrumental. They were the ones that were able to get this declaration, and that led to the creation of Israel in 1948.
Hey, by the way, I see a lot of people in my chat saying you're accurate, good at playing dumb. Bro, why the fuck would I know about what the fuck going on in Israel, bro? Hell no. So again, obviously,
and this is censored stuff, bro. A lot of people don't even want people to know this type of stuff. Like you couldn't talk about this stuff like 2 years ago, bro. And now with what happened with Gaza, now it's open, for discussion a bit. But this is something that's been censored. You talk about 9/11, USS Liberty, JFK, RFK, Balfour Declaration. You get into any of this stuff, bro. You start getting into. This is why I'm demonetized. This topic right here. It's safe to talk about it now, but before, like, it was like a off-limit topic.
Wait, well, is it just talking about the topic, or were you like, going hard against the people?
Well, it's both. Like, but even talking about it would get you jammed up, bro. Like before October 7th. Yeah, bro. If you talked about any of this stuff before October 7th, it was an automatic ban.
This all looks like it would make for a great Netflix series and explain it to like the regular Joe like me.
Yeah, no, man, it's a lot, dude. And I know I threw like it's like drinking out of a fire hose. Pause. But dude, it's a lot of when you actually connect the dots and you figure out who runs this country. It starts to become, you just can't unsee it. It's absolutely nuts. Some people say, "Oh, you're obsessed or you're a hater," but it's the truth, bro. Like this country is run by Zionist Jews. It is what it is.
I'm gonna ask a question. It might be stupid as well, but
no dumb questions.
When it comes to Palestine,
Yeah.
If we just took over Venezuela and captured their leader in like 55 minutes, why isn't Palestine like, Palestine's like Miami Beach. Like, how the hell can they get, wait, show me Palestine. Like, Palestine's like Miami Beach.
You got the Gaza Strip right here, and then you got
that's like Miami
the West
Beach.
Bank.
Like, how the hell, like, they have like a war of like 100 years? Like, what's taking so long?
Well, there's a lot of people that live in Gaza, bro. It's like one of the most densely populated areas in the world. It's like 2 million plus.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. That's why so many people are dead, bro. And look, they're estimating the casualties at around 70,000. But in a couple of years, when they pull all those bodies out of the rubble and count all the missing people, we're going to see easily somewhere between 100 to 600,000 dead. Easy. The Israelis completely leveled Gaza, bro. It's bad.
Wait. So do they build stuff there, or they only like drop bombs there?
They were just dropping bombs there, and now the place is like complete. Like 90% of the infrastructure of Gaza is like gone.
So what's the point of living there?
That's the point. They're trying to make it uninhabitable to get them out of there. Let me see if I can get a Gaza before and after picture for you.
Oh, there's the before and after?
No, I'm going to get you a picture right now of Gaza, what it looked like before. Gaza before and after. Bro, it's nuts. Like if you click the images, like look on a satellite, this is what it was before. That's what it is, like completely leveled.
It's some real shit?
Yeah, man. It's bad, bro. Like it's literally like, like they completely destroyed this place, bro. It's leveled.
So right there where we're looking at, that was before and after?
Yeah. 2 years of relentless bombing.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were indiscriminately bombing everywhere, bro. They were killing people, and tens of thousands of kids. I think easily a couple 100,000 plus kids have probably been killed.
They do what the United States, well, I would imagine we do, or we try to do. Like, for example, I was saying with Venezuela, I'm like, Venezuela got some bad bitches. I'm gonna be tight to Trump if he bombed the bad bitches. He can't bomb the BBL spot. Like, what the hell? Like, nigga, like, if bomb trendy Aragua, bomb them wherever the fuck they at. But so usually I think about like military operations where it's like you're not bombing Times Square. You're gonna bomb maybe a place or strategic location that you think maybe a army, like even let's say Pearl Harbor, right? Like Pearl Harbor was still like it was an attack on supposedly a strategic location, right? It wasn't like yo downtown Cleveland. You know what I mean? Y'all niggas think y'all partying tonight? No, it's a bomb. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
And I think everyone just across the globe would just frown upon that. Like if you just if you bombed motherfucking, is it Hong Kong or Shanghai? Whatever the fuck the main thing is in China where you have civilians just hanging out, living their life, the main city. If you dropped a fucking nuke right there, people be like, yo, you're fucking disgusting. Like you just killed bunch of innocent.
Yeah. And that's the problem, right? Is that Israel basically bombed Gaza indiscriminately and nobody cares. And the reason why is because the United States runs cover for Israel. Like they just literally got done doing a genocide, bro. Like every human rights organization has identified what they did in Gaza as a genocide. And, Netanyahu's literally in the Mar-a-Lago chilling with Trump on New Year's Eve. Like that's the kind of protection that the Israelis get. No other country would be able to operate like that ever. And it's because they have so much control of American policy, and we have overrepresentation of Zionist Jews in positions of power in the United States. They run the Ivy League schools, they run the media, they run politics, everything, dude.
I try to, I treat the Middle East, or I wish I could, right? Where like I treat what they say about Philly. They say stay out of Philly business. Yeah. I try to stay out of Middle Eastern business, but it looked like the United States and shit. I'm a United States citizen.
Yeah.
It got to be a difficult thing though, and not defending Israel or I really have no horse in the race. I give two fucks about either of them.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, they beefing with these people in Palestine or whatever.
Yeah.
And these people, like, they don't have a fucking military base, so to speak.
No, Hamas is like a very, crude military.
Like,
they don't have shit. No, they don't have shit. Hamas.
Okay, so they're hanging with these civilians. So I guess like Israel's thing is, we ain't trying to kill kids, but like, yo, if you in the car, everybody getting Swiss cheese. That's why this is happening, right? Whereas like, hey, we can't fight these motherfuckers because we don't they're blending in with civilians and they're in civilian places. So if we're attacking them, yeah, there's a couple casualties of war. But yo, y'all got to get mad at these Hamas niggas to say, yo, go create some military bases over there, separate from us, let us live our regular life. And that when y'all need to get bombed, y'all get bombed over there and we get left alone. What about that?
And so the reason why that doesn't work is because, and the Israelis, this is one of their talking points. They say, all the time, oh, Hamas is hiding behind the civilians. They're using them as human shields. They're hiding in the tunnels as people get bombed above. Well, if Hamas is hiding under the tunnels, why are you indiscriminately bombing the entire area to destroy it? And the reason why is because what we discussed before. I think the strategy here was to destroy Gaza, make it uninhabitable, and then move these people to somewhere else because that's some prime real estate. If you look at Gaza, it's actually very beautiful. And I'll show you it's like literally beachfront property, right? We're talking about, Gaza beach, right? That's like prime real estate right there. So this can be, another Dubai damn near where they can make a bunch of money on it. So I think they destroyed it to make it uninhabitable, get those people out, and then turn it into a huge tourist destination to compete with Dubai and other places. Like the Middle East is starting to realize that the evolution of electric cars is upon us. Oil might not be as necessary or as necessary. So they need to find other ways to earn. And what a lot of countries in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, whatever, like they're trying to open up and become more tourist friendly towards the West. And people have seen how Dubai has really been able to expand as a global city. So the Saudi Arabia has kind of like released some of their, typical laws and customs. They've allowed alcohol to come in. They've started creating nightclubs. I predict that with Gaza, they're like, hey, we want to cash in on some of this too. We got some prime real estate here right on the beach. Let's go ahead and take this thing over. And Trump fucked up because back in March, when Netanyahu did his second or third visit to the United States to talk about tariffs, Trump slipped up and said, oh yeah, we're going to take Gaza. We're going to cherish it. And everyone's like, what? Under what authority are you going to take Gaza? He's like, oh, we're just going to take it. And he kind of let the mask slip there because that was a plan the whole time. Destroy the infrastructure, make it uninhabitable, move them out of there, and then turn this thing into a beachfront property and make a bunch of money.
So why don't they do some shit like how we got ICE over here? Send ICE over there, man. Be like, yo, listen, man, y'all niggas gotta get over. And by the way, I'm looking at the map now. So Gaza is against the water.
Yep.
And then it's right there by Israel. There's not even like some Muslim state like right there by it, right?
There's, you got Egypt right here and stuff.
It's not good for the Muslim dudes, which is the Palestinians, right? Like, why the hell would you want to be there?
In Gaza now?
I'm just looking at the map. Like, so Israel, they're Jews.
Yeah, there's some Muslims that live there too. They got like 2 million Arabs.
But hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not like a huge Muslim state to kind of support them. So if they're going against Israel, their back is to the wall. It's water. It's not like they have like geographically.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, they're occupied, bro. They can't go anywhere. Like they can't leave the Gaza Strip. They can't leave. They're completely occupied.
So if the Palestinians or whatever was like, I bet, let's do like a treaty, right?
Yeah.
Give us like a part that's closer to the other Muslim niggas. Like give us a part of Israel over there, and we'll just all move that way. Like, y'all get this way, we get that way.
Oh, you're talking about like a two-state solution. That's what they tried to do, but it never happened because the current Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he's done everything in his power to ensure that they don't have a two-state solution. There was a deal that they struck, something called, I'll show you right here, the Oslo Accords, right? This was struck back in the 90s under Bill Clinton, right? And this was the closest we ever came to a two-state solution. But guess what happened? This guy, Yitzhak Rabin, got assassinated by a far-right member of the Likud party, which is the party that Netanyahu was a part of. And then obviously Yasser Arafat he died. They said he died of food poisoning or some shit, but that's a lie. I think he got poisoned. But either way, both of these guys, had signed the Oslo Accords, and that was going to be the beginning of potentially trying to get a two-state solution going, but it never came to fruition. And this guy, Benjamin Netanyahu, has done everything in his power to stop it. And I would argue that's a big reason why Yitzhak Rabin got assassinated was because of the Oslo Accords. But that was supposed to be the closest we ever got to it.
So I see Bill Clinton there, so the U.S. has always played like babysitter with this bullshit beef.
They've tried, but we always, give Israel the deference because
niggas at? Like, yo, bring one of them tea sipping motherfuckers to like. Why the U.S. got to be like trying to help these motherfuckers shake hands and shit?
Well, the thing is that we try to get in and broker peace, but the reality is that the Zionist lobby is too powerful in America, and we always end up conceding to whatever Israel wants.
Why doesn't Russia give a fuck about this?
About Israel-Palestine or about?
Yeah, that area. Like, I don't see China like, oh, we need to. I think China's like, fuck y'all, all of y'all.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Russia, I mean, they do have some shared interest in the region. I mean, they were supporting Bashar al-Assad for a very long time, keeping him in power. That was the only reason he was still able to stay. But once he ran out of there, Russia couldn't come in to defend him because they had their hands tied up with Russia-Ukraine. So they couldn't give them their air power that they're normally given. That's how Bashar al-Assad's been able to kind of stave off all these rebels. But that's why everything worked out perfectly for the Israelis, because the Israelis went hard on Lebanon, destabilized them, killed Hassan Nasrallah, did the Patriot attack. Then they did a ceasefire that triggered Ahmed al-Shara to lead his revolution and take over Syria. And now Syria is being run by Ahmed al-Shara, who's way more friendly to the United States and Israel because he wants to get the sanctions taken off of Israel. So everything has worked perfectly for the Israelis. And the only objective left now at this point is Iran, because all their other enemies have been significantly weakened. And this is why they're under so much pressure to get the job done with Iran now.
So if we fuck Iran up, mission accomplished. Wow.
For Israel, yeah. It'll benefit them way more than us. I don't think we really get any benefit from destabilizing Iran. If anything, I think it creates more problems. That's what happened with Iraq. We thought getting Saddam Hussein out would help us, and it didn't. And Iraq to this day still hasn't recovered.
Well, that's crazy. Yo, listen, Myron, you've just given me, I feel like, a world history and a geopolitical crash course on what's going on. Because genuinely, I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, I hate when people say, they're pro-Israel or free Palestine. I don't give a fuck about none of them. Like, that's a fact. Yo, I don't give a fuck about none of them. Yo, you know what? Yo, I'm on some, I wish they would do some Soldier Boy shit. I wish both of them meet up and die. whoever win, we'll rock with y'all. We don't give two fucks. Like, I don't care. But I'm now starting to see, like, it's a really interesting game where there's been a lot of investments and a lot of people who are kind of betting on particular sides. So you can't really, like, I wish we had the approach of, listen, we don't care who want to beef in the world. Whoever, y'all meet up and die. And who wins, we gonna fuck with the winner.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say, like, the reason why it's important, right, is because we give Israel a lot of their money and their support and their aid. We give them billions of dollars a year. They're the #1 recipient of foreign aid. And the problem here is that our tax dollars is what's being used to drop bombs on kids. So, like, now we're complicit in this genocide in Gaza because we armed them with the bombs to do it. Israel relies heavily upon us because not only is Israel able to do whatever they want in the region, no one retaliates because they're scared of the U.S. getting involved. So, like, Israel's like the bully on the block where they're able to hit you, and then they go running to their big brother knowing that if they hit Israel back, we're going to hit them.